The High Court in Banjul has released former State House staff and a protocol at the Ministry of Affairs who are on the trial for the issuance of fake diplomatic passports. As the world focuses on the COVID-19 global pandemic, health experts are expressing concern on the need to put efforts on non-communicable diseases. Nigerian small businesses hoping to recover from the coronavirus impact as the central bank cuts lending rates. This and more coming on the world today. Hello there, you're watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV. I am Amadou Kante. Many thanks for joining us, and now the news in detail. Now, the High Court in Banjul has released the former driver of President Adama Barrow and a protocol officer at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on bail. The duo, who was arrested for allegedly conspiring and forgery of the Gambia's diplomatic passport. In September last year, Gambia's Foreign Affairs Minister told legislators that Foreign Affairs Ministry issued over 1,000 diplomatic passports in 2017 and 18 respectively. Details of that in this report by Julden Jai-Suare.
The High Court in Banjul on Wednesday granted bail to former driver of President Adama Barrow and a protocol officer at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs who are on trial for diplomatic passport fraud. In August 2019, the Office of the Inspector General of Police opened investigation into the case in which Mansa Musa from State House and Ibrahima Jesane from the Foreign Affairs Ministry were implicated. They were accused together with other two protocol officers at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sekou Sane and Usman Toure, who is reportedly at large on the 3rd of May 2020 for allegedly helping in the issuance of diplomatic passport for one Bakary Suso. The 8 charges range from forgery, conspiracy to commit felony, false documentation, making documents without authority, and procurement of execution of documents by false pretense. They both pleaded not guilty to all the charges. During the bail application, their defense lawyer S. Gay pointed out that all the offenses were bailable and without the objection of Senior State Counsel Patrick Gomez. Justice Ibrahima Jaite ruled in consideration of the nature of the alleged crimes. Justice Jaite relied on Section 99, subsection 1 of the Criminal Prosecution Code for his decision on condition that the offences do not constitute death penalty or life imprisonment. Accordingly, each of the accused persons was required to provide 2 Gambian authorities with a bail bond of $500,000 to shift from the remand wing during the trial. Meanwhile, both Sumare and Sane were ordered to surrender all travel documents and be prepared to attend court on every proceeding. The case is adjourned till June 17. For iAfrica News, I am Julden Jai-Suare.
And from that court report there, we stay home because 2 days after the Gambia government announced the easing of the COVID-19 restriction with the reopening of places of worships and schools, congregational prayers have also begun in the country. Mosques in different parts of the country have since March suspended operation thanks to the emergency declaration by the head of state. The Imam Ratib of Banjul, Charno Aliou Maska, returned to the usual Friday prayers at the King Fahad Mosque in the capital Banjul. The reopening of places of worship followed a wave of concern from mainly the Muslim community on the lack of access to the mosques for daily prayers and that of the weekly mass congregations.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Muslims in the Gambia observe Friday prayers today as government eases COVID-19 regulations. And from that, next we head to Nigeria because Nigerian Central Bank's decision to cut down lending rates is expected to help small businesses to recover for the impact on the COVID-19. Many businesses were adversely affected as the government imposed national lockdown to curb the spread of the virus in the country. Analysts have said that the reduction may not have an immediate impact, but additional avenues were needed to help businesses recover. Here is more details of that in this report.
Emmanuel Kyungnom is excited to be back in business after being shut down for nearly 3 months. His paint business has seen one of its worst downturns in 7 years, a loss of over $1,500 caused by the effect of a coronavirus outbreak. And it may take a while before it picks up again.
Since this pandemic started, the business has been down, has been low. First and foremost, there is no money. We have been experiencing low patronage.
Nigeria's central bank has made several interventions to ease monetary distress on businesses, from accelerating a $50 billion loan facility for small businesses. Now the latest move is the reduction of its monetary policy rate.
I think the low interest rates as CBN have announced, I think will help especially like person like we in order to put in more money into our business, to push the business to a greater height.
Although the monetary policy rate reduction will make lending cheaper and stimulate the economy, it might still not be enough to bring a meaningful recovery.
Well, it may not have immediate direct impact. I think authorities, particularly Monetary Policy Committee and Central Bank of Nigeria, we need to do more in terms of accelerating facility given to small businesses beyond the 50 billion naira. I think by now what Nigerian authorities should consider is an amount that is not less than 200 billion naira, approximately $500 million is what they need to impact the economy. Yes, it's significant, but the level of significance will not be much. It will save us to some extent, but we need to combine the reduction by 100 basis points, talking about 13.5 to 12.5. We need to combine that with fiscal policy, which will come, of course, from authorities other than Monetary Authority with Monetary Policy Committee and Central Bank of Nigeria.
Nigeria's economy was making a slow recovery from the 2016 recession before the coronavirus outbreak. Now, inflationary pressure, a halt on international trade, and a decline in manufacturing is weakening the already fragile economy. Experts say increased demand and government spending can stimulate the economy and put it back on track.
From the Nigerian capital Abuja, next we report on the IMF matters because the spokesman of the International Monetary Fund has sounded the readiness of the organizations to provide emergency financing to the global economy with particular focus on Africa. The IMF has so far dispensed over $1 billion to countries in consideration of the impact of the coronavirus global pandemic. Let's have more details of that in this report.
International Monetary Fund is gearing up for the provision of more emergency support in the sub-Saharan Africa amidst the coronavirus globally. Speaking during a virtual news conference, spokesman of the IMF, Gary Rice, said the IMF has so far disbursed over $10 billion in financing countries in the sub-Saharan Africa, which is roughly 10 times the average annual support from the IMF.
So what does that mean? As of June 3rd, yesterday, between 35 and 40 sub-Saharan African countries have made a request for emergency assistance from the IMF, and 27 countries so far have received financing from the fund. They have received it for a total of about US $10 billion. Again, already dispersed and without IMF traditional conditionality.
Mr. Rice welcomed by the European Central Bank in expanding financing for EU member states.
Given the crisis, the priority continues to be swift implementation of this response effort to the crisis. In particular, although medium-term fiscal consolidation remains important, further fiscal stimulus can be deployed as needed to support the poor. And given the sharp slowdown in domestic and global activity, there may be scope for additional monetary easing as well to support growth and financial stability.
Gary Rice also pointed to a pledge by major economies for a one-year moratorium on new trade restrictions in the wake of the 2008 global financial crisis as a positive example of bold leadership.
Today, more than ever, the global economy would benefit from a more open, stable, transparent, rules-based trade system. On the particular questions, we have in fact raised our concerns over supply disruptions from the use of export restrictions and other actions that limit trade of key medical supplies and food.
The International Monetary Fund stated that countries should avoid putting restrictions on global trade in food and medical supplies in the face of the global pandemic. For iAfrica News, I am Aminata Job.
The International Monetary Fund seeks to provide more financial support to Africa amidst the impact of COVID-19. Well, with that, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Badingol men be Gambia anin Gambia e bantala mbenga nyillon ko TRRC bala doko sallabang le kono andi la doko be lori men kan wala hadama dingol men na nyanto tinyata nyim banko kanjang kabrin July karo 1994 sangola kana January karo 2017 sangola woto momo yalon ko e mantorata nyi wato kono andi man futa TRRC follow pour que la kuma kan di safo me statement no ye fere ke ye futa TRRC ye la kuma kan di atariya nyama yo pour kana TRRC ye fen kenan pasoti kana futa je wala fen dépense pour ka futa TRRC ke la kuma kan di abe sendi le male bare be nyim fanan ko en la ko pour ka statement no fanan di amanke ko momo ye la kuma kan di TRRC ibelo la television o nyatole mobe jube wotude tele bulu ni laptop ka testify mobe ye la moy mobe je iso kenole bar ni man la fo fanan na ese kuma kango dinole ayatra mol ke kango moy barete nyaada jela nindu man la fo fanana ese sino inin commissional damma aliye kacha ayatra mote bole kalama andu nimme lafta kanyinke ese katoke yin telephone number kumandi pour ka TRRC sotono 7704988 7704988 wala 7415937 7415937 ala baraka mobe sadake TRRC dokot.
Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the story. Now, the Methodist Church of the Gambia has announced that the regular Sunday services will resume on 14 June 2020. In a press release on Friday, the mission explained that the move is meant to enable the church to put right and proper measures in place for safety and health. The announcement was signed by the presiding bishop, Hannah Caroline Fald-Hines. Now, in a similar statement, the Catholic Diocese announced that although churches are declared open, public masses will not begin right away. The Bishop of Banjul said the delay in reopening of the church is to enable proper measures in place for the safety and health of their faithful congregations. Now, the closure of the places of worship following the proclamation of the state of public emergency that also saw the closure of educational institutions with view to contain the spread of the COVID-19. On Wednesday, the Gambia government announced the easing of COVID-19 restriction with the reopening of places of worship with effects from Friday, 5th of June. Earlier this week, the Gambia registered the latest case of the coronavirus, bringing the total since March to 26, out of which 21 have recovered. And from that development,
hereby informing all priests, religious and lay faithful that there will be no public masses this coming Sunday and weekdays until the diocese puts right and proper measures in place for the safety and health of her faithful. We cannot resume public masses without prior and adequate preparations. An announcement will be made about the resumption of public celebrations when the extended state of emergency expires next week. We plead with all of you to be patient until we hear from His Lordship, Most Reverend Dr. Gabriel Mendy, the Bishop of the Diocese of Banjul, on when and how we should resume public celebrations. Signed, Bishop Gabriel Mendy, the Bishop of the Diocese of Banjul.
And from that announcement there from the Bishop's Diocese of Banjul, next we move to Velingara, where the peoples of Velingara village has been busy at the community Bantaba for the distribution of their shares of the food aid provided by the Gambia government. Government invested over $700 million on food items to assist the most vulnerable households during the period of the state of public emergency. Here's more details of that in this report.
Dozens of households in Willingar, West Coast region have been queuing for the past 2 days to collect their share of the $700 million worth of food aid provided by the Gambian government to the less privileged in the country. The community Alcalo Sehundu described the task as tedious, whose lot has since been jointly soldiered by the Village Development Committee and regional authorities.
Everybody should call himself as a Gambian. Whether Polga, Syria, or whatever you may be. You are a Gambian and it should be a Gambian. Let us unite and work together as Gambians. And towards that unity, more in the Gambia would develop as it should be. Years gone by, there was a problem of before independence. And the leaders of yesterday they were very close together, work together, and they were able to achieve independence. Because Tubabi Angle, then forgone, Gambia cannot go for 3 months.
Alassana Conte, chairman of the VDC, said the demand of the food is higher than the supply and that it will be unfortunate not all needy households will benefit.
No supply of nata water sila de because Niala population of Jibe is well over 3,000, 4,000. And you come for a household level. Okay, number of compounds may be young. A theater back between 3 to 4, but household is much more. So ibajela water hanisa be solar and more supply lela because more will be from all man safe for offer.
Isa Tumane, a resident of Willingar, complained of the long period that the distribution process is keeping them waiting at the community Bantaba.
Monday man fi ñetti fan sister mënuma fexé ba am dara. Ñetti fan maam fi suma ñëwé dama fi dé tok ba 6 o'clock ma ñibi duma dé am xawma di because fi mo mënuma understand sen system dañ mix kayit yi so ñëwé ñu ne dañ mix kayit yi yépp mix ñeneen ñi di am ñeneen ñu duñ dé am ñu ne la délul ba suba dañ dé o sa tour sa ñu ne la no ma nekkul fa da nga dem ba Saturday lé ñun ci sona bobu lañ nekka ngum ni.
The food aid was launched to reach out to 84% of households that are heading towards hunger thanks to the emergency restrictions brought by the COVID-19 global pandemic. Since end of March, the Gambia has been into a state of public emergency, with the latest extension of 21 days to contain the spread of the coronavirus expected to end in about 2 weeks. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Aissatou Tamba.
And from the report there by Aissatou Tamba, of course, we still report on matters of the COVID-19 and, of course, matters of non-communicable diseases, because the emergency of the coronavirus global pandemic has disrupted the treatment of non-communicable diseases in many countries as the world focus on the latest global crisis. Health experts, however, argue that the non-communicable diseases are claiming more lives than that at the moment, and that it shouldn't be ignored despite the coronavirus outbreak. Let's have more details of that in this report.
The COVID-19 pandemic and non-communicable diseases have brought about a deadly interplay. Services have become increasingly disrupted as African countries move from sporadic cases to community transmission of the coronavirus.
Because of COVID-19, there is a bigger impact on all the other diseases. We mainly call them as non-communicable diseases especially. You know, the highest mortality rate in today's world is because of non-communicable diseases. Even in Africa, by 2021, that is next year, it is being said that the biggest cause for death would be not the infections but the non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension and other diseases like cancer and respiratory illness.
According to the latest survey released by WHO, the impact is global, but low-income countries are the most affected. Many African countries are reportedly experiencing disruption in services for hypertension treatment, with 49% for treatment for diabetes and diabetes-related complications, 42% for cancer treatment, and 31% for cardiovascular emergencies.
Because of COVID-19, most of the hospitals are taking COVID cases, and then it is a bigger impact on the patient who is already immunocompromised with diabetes, hypertension or any kind of cancer for that matter. We are not able to admit them because of having COVID-19 cases in the hospital, because they are more vulnerable to get cases of corona.
Doctors say it will take some time before countries know the full extent of the impact of disruptions to health care during the COVID-19 pandemic on people with non-communicable diseases. What remains clear is that not only are people with non-communicable diseases more vulnerable to becoming seriously ill with the virus, but many are unable to access the treatment they need to manage their illnesses.
That report there in Nairobi, Kenya, finally brings us to the end of this news bulletin. But for more details on this and other stories, you can also log on our website on iAfrica.tv. Well, once again, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and bye for now.